There's a reason why I put my best foot forward. Been fighting for too hard for far too long. Always getting beat up on this road called life. I'm trying to figure out where I belong. Lost in my own head, the doubts keep on coming. My heart beats faster.
Hello everyone and welcome back to One Piece of Me. My name is Nicole. I am the narrator, my life, my dreams, my story, and I've got special guest Jimmy back here with me for today's episode because we have the greatest conversations and we do a lot of local play together. We're great friends and he loves One Piece as much as me, so we're going to talk some more about the episodes that we were watching all the way up to now we're on Water 7, and we're also going to talk, and there's going to be lots of spoiler alerts here because I'm in current time. Went through the whole Monkey D. Luffy Gear 5. Now I'm in current time, so that's very exciting for me, and Jimmy has a lot to say and talk about with some of those things that are happening right now that I know he wants me to get. So we were just talking a little bit about a couple of nights ago I saw a video come up through my Insta, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. It was late. Maybe not 2 o'clock, but I sent it off to Jimmy right away, and of course he was up.
I'm always awake.
Party people are up at night owls all the time, goofing off online. But anyway, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to catch this video real quick, but kind of showed off some of the characters who probably got together to have their little ones. I was saying I didn't know who this lady was, and Jimmy was like, "That's Inu." Eem.
It's spelled as emu, like I-M-U, but
okay.
The pronunciation is just eem.
Okay.
And they just run the government, like top, like entire time, like Gorosei, like you've seen like them. Have you never seen them like kneeling down at the throne, the empty throne?
No,
either?
And I feel like how did I forget that? Where was it back in the arc? What arc was it on? Where was it in the episodes?
Yeah, I'll look
was it one that
quick.
maybe I was multitasking on that day, or what? I'm not sure.
Here, I'll just look.
Sometimes when you're watching the shows, you might like be doing some other things, and you're like really, you're kind of tuning in. There's some periods that go on for a long time, and not that I don't love every single second and paying attention to every single second, but. Maybe I put the phone down, or maybe I went to the bathroom at the time. I don't know. How did I miss this?
Eem shows up at 8:85.
8:85. All right, I'm going back to 8:85 to see that.
And that's when you first see like the whole straw hat, like big straw hat thing.
Okay, missed that too.
Yeah, it's just like they're literally like going down like this corridor, go down some stairs. They open this big door. They're looking at Luffy's wanted poster, and there's this giant like straw. It looks frozen in a way, but it's just like I think it's just like this ominous mist in this room. But it's like this big giant straw hat, and that's all you see. And then it's just like, what? Like, why is there a giant straw hat like on Mary Joa?
All right. Well, we know now because I'm in current time.
Seems like you should have been taking notes.
Well, now it's time for me to go back and take notes. Actually, that is my homework now that I'm in current time. I'm waiting like everybody else is for 1110 to come out this coming weekend. And I've also I was waiting on volume 4 of the manga because I'm going to be continuing to read that. But I'm also going back and watching the movies. I watched Film Red and I watched Stampede recently. So I have to go back and rewatch Gold. That's on my project list. But in order to make this really something that is something that I can truly not forget and really just expand on the conversations, expand on my knowledge, is I'm going back now to study everything.
Quick question, because we talked about this briefly before, but aren't some of the movies non-canon?
All of them are non-canon.
All of them are non-canon, okay. I thought it was a mix. I thought somewhere.
No, I wish they were. People are saying like Red is like canon. Red's like kind of canon because
Well, first of all, who are you talking to? Where's that voice coming from right now?
Anyway.
Oh, it's Devin Merchant, my cameraman behind the scenes. I thought it was a ghost on the aux.
Haha, but
I'm funny, guys. Okay, go ahead.
what was it? Yeah, the only thing relative about Red is like Uta is like actually like a canon character, but that's all we have. So like. They're not gonna mention like anything that happened in Red, but it's like implied that it's like somewhat canon to the universe rather than
Right.
every other movie.
So is it like, are you familiar with Star Wars?
Yeah.
So is it kind of like Star Wars Legends, where it's like it's canon unless something contradicts it?
Okay, I never seen Legends.
Legends is not one thing. Legends is basically external media outside of the games and movies that Disney released.
I know
when
the
they bought it.
comics are like crazy.
So like when before Disney bought Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
There was tons of extra media out there made by other people outside of just the main movies and
Right.
games, and it was kind of a blurry mess on which ones were canonical and which ones were not.
Yeah.
But then when Disney took over, they said, okay, all the movies and certain specific games are canon, and then everything going forward that we make is all canon. The way the fan base basically took it is all the other external stuff is legends in the universe.
Okay.
So it can still exist in the universe unless something new contradicts it.
Okay, so it's like what's the word? Is the word theories? What's the science between like? There's like
They call it legends because, like,
Yeah.
if you think about it in real
in
life,
science, like until you prove it, like a fact, it's like it's proven. Like,
It's only legendary until it's proven real.
so it's like in real life how you hear about myths
Yeah.
about stuff. It could exist, we don't know, but unless we discover something that says it's real or not. You know what I mean?
I don't think the movies
It's
are
like stories that are told.
Yeah. The movies are more or less like
It's-
some of the in-between moments that happen just in somebody's life that maybe you...
It's more like they go to like a random island. There's an antagonist on that island, and then it's just like, oh, we got to handle the antagonist on the
Yeah,
island.
she's really a part of the story because she belongs. Uta specifically is a part of the story because she belongs to a member of one of the pirate crews, Shanks.
Yeah.
You know, she's considered Shanks's daughter, but
So the movies are like a self-contained arc
Yeah.
yes,
instead of spanning multiple episodes, just one thing.
It's just one thing where it's just
Gotcha.
like you get to show off like new outfits and stuff. That's kind of what all the movies do. All the movies, they just give all the characters new outfits. They try to show their personalities a lot
Yeah.
more, give them more screen time because you never
drip
see
them out.
Uta.
Basically, they drip a lot of characters out in those movies.
Well, I'm glad that we're talking about this right now because Uta is actually a great talk about. She's a great character to talk about because she represents every singer who has ever had this like amazing, beautiful voice and talent and can perform. She's got the personality of just wanting to use her voice to send out a message into the world to try to help people. So she really represents that musician in the industry who is hoping that their voice, their story is going to save the world. I think that's the best way to sum it up. And because she's, her character's got a lot going on in it, she's kind of alone, so she doesn't really know. She represents that character who's kind of alone and doesn't really know what's happening in the world because she hasn't been able to leave her world and her bubble. So she's relying on her fans and everybody to tell her what's going on. And because she's getting a lot of, people who are looking up to her for inspiration and stuff, they wind up pretty much convincing her that like life is tough, it's so hard, it's so rough, we're going through so much. So she comes up with this plan, not necessarily wanting it to be evil necessarily, because she doesn't really know what's happening and she believes something that's not necessarily true. But she's trying to save people and she's trying to save the world. I love that that is a movie out there. and that character is out there also inspiring again.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
beloved character.
Does she come back in any of the? She doesn't come into the manga at all since you're ahead of the manga.
The only reason they make it canon is because I think what was it was like one like major scene that was happening in recent time, and I think it was like it might have been like during the Gear 5 fight where like it's like Luffy thinking of like all these people he's helped, and then there's like a silhouette of Uta dancing for like a second, and then it's just like, okay, cool. At least Uta's canon in this universe.
Yeah.
That's all I cared about, but that's the only thing we have to call Red Canon.
So the fans just love her so much they can't let her go.
She's adorable.
It's a very beloved character.
She is a very beloved character. She is adorable. The music too.
Music is amazing.
Amazing. The lyrics, her voice is very special. I don't know who the voice actually is of Uta and who the real singer is, but
Otto's a very well-known Japanese singer.
Yeah, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I'll send you some stuff. Just, yeah, beautiful. We'll have to do like a playlist.
She has a very
for when
nice
we
like
do the live streams
grunge,
because she's, yeah.
like grunge feel. Like you never hear like real growling in music like the way Otto does it. Otto
Right.
just has this unique way she like has like this aggressive like demeanor with her lyrics.
Yeah, but you actually don't even, like, in a way you don't, she has a way of like curving it and not making it so angry. She just puts it out there. It's like grunge but not super mad angry grunge, even though the lyrics and everything are in it. But she also has this angelic, beautiful, put me to sleep lullaby, this like love song, and she's gonna just, woo you and make everything better in your life. She's got that power too, so very cool. All right, so I'm in current time. What do you want to talk about? What are we gonna talk about first?
Did you want to talk about Water 7 first before you get to...
Okay, let's talk about Water 7, but it's so fun to go forward and then back and forward and back, but sometimes you do forget some stuff. So Water 7. So One Piece fans, if you're out there, follow along. If you don't want spoiler alerts, okay, follow or whatever. Follow, subscribe, send it to some of your friends who are going to be interested in this part. But Water 7 is where we learn about an island where there is a shipbuilding company going on. Water 7 has a lot of dynamics to it. It's where we meet Frankie and the Frankie family. It's where we're going to possibly see if we can find a new ship. We have some money that we've just gained. It gets stolen from us. The Frankie family is involved in that too. So when we get there, we meet the shipwrights. It's a shipwright building island. They're doing very well, but there's also some undercover bad guys there called CP9. And when you get to the island, at first, you're thinking that some of these people who are coming out of the ship, because the Straw Hats are walking around, they're trying to get some information on where to get a new ship at. And, they want it to be spectacular because everybody just cried over the Going Merry. We've lost the Going Merry.
No, we haven't lost her yet.
We haven't lost her yet.
No, they get to Water 7, they find out legendary shipwrights are there. They want to fix the Going Merry.
Right.
And they're like,
That's
hey,
right.
Here's all the money we have. We want you to fix the ship.
Right.
And then you have like Kaku, who's just like, let me diagnose it and inspect it real quick.
Right.
And he goes there and he's like, listen, you'll spend a lot less money on a better ship than trying to fix this ship, because I forgot what it was called.
It was the bow. The piece that goes right through the middle, basically like the spine.
Yeah,
it's like the spine of the ship.
It's irreparable. Like, it's just like, this ship is gonna collapse if you use it again. I don't know how you got to this island the way you did, but
yeah. And he's a cool character that comes on the scene.
Yeah.
You're looking at his trading card. I'm looking at his trading card. Before I get there, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I can't wait to find out who this guy is. This is a special. I was attracted to that card. Rob Lucci. He's been nicknamed the Lucci Gucci because he's
Pigeon Man.
The Pigeon Man. Certainly very deceptive, because at first we get onto the island and he's all like stoic and the bird is talking.
I mean, he's talking with his bird. He's wearing his wife beater, just building ships. Mm-hmm. Just kind of not really talking to anybody.
Not talking at all. Nobody thought he could talk.
Oh yeah, nobody thought he could talk. He thought the pigeon was.
The pigeon was the only talker for him. And then we meet. You
meet Tilestone. You meet Paulie.
Tilestone and Paulie. Khalifa.
You meet Khalifa and Iceberg.
So how do you say that? I thought it was Khalifa.
I mean, it depends.
Khalifa.
I say Khalifa just because like
Because I started
The
thinking
way-
cauliflower in order to remember the pronunciation of the name. You know, you have to do that kind of word association in your head when you're trying to learn
It's
new
a bit
names.
weird when they pronounce Japanese words, because like current time, like Sentomaru, I call them Sentomaru the entire
Yeah,
time.
Sensamaru, that's what I was
But then
calling
when
it.
like you hear it more, they say Sentomaru, and I'm like, oh. I mean, I prefer the other way, but I'll respect it.
Yeah.
Some people have like weird takes on how they say names, like Bartolomeo.
Bartolomeo.
I mean, the thing is, it's so jazzy, right?
Jazzy!
She calls him Bartolomeo.
Bartolomeo.
And I'm sitting there like, it doesn't make sense just because so many people just call him Barto. And a lot of people say Bartolomeo, but like, I don't, but they're like, oh, the way they say it in the show. And I'm like, I don't, even though they do, I don't think that's right. Because why would you make someone named Bartholomew when you have Bartholomew Kuma already?
True. Very similar names. going
So
on.
that's just my take. But anyways,
Lots going on.
Hey,
in
as
One
we've
Piece.
discovered, they got 2 carrots in the show.
They have 2 carrots.
they do have 2 carrots.
There's 2 carrots.
Yes, there are 2 carrots. We've
So
talked
I
about
mean,
that.
sometimes the names will cross over. Cut them some
True,
slack.
true.
True.
Very valid.
Even though one of those carrots is like borderline
Irrelevant.
irrelevant. Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I forgot there was 2 carrots. Even though we talked about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And one is a girl and one is a guy.
Is it?
Well, one is a kid.
One is a rabbit and the other one's a child.
Yeah, that's true. One is a minx, rabbit, that's right, and
Minx.
the other one is a child. So anyway, we're on Water 7, and we're finding out that there is a group of undercover agents, and they're called CP9. Do you want to just elaborate on how CP9 is been organized and who they're working for and what's going on? Because right now, we knew Baroque Works was that whole undercover thing, but that was, Crocodile.
That was Crocodile's own little
Crocodile's
organization.
So CP9 is another organization.
Right, that's an organization, what is it, put together by the government. So like it's like a elite group of assassins that the government like sends out to really get intel or to assassinate people to get their missions
So
done.
this would be like the
CIA.
secret. It's like the CIA or the Secret Service. Well, not Secret Service necessarily, because they're just there really to kind of protect you. They're not going out of their way to, eliminate you. So these are assassins.
They're ninjas.
They're just they're ninja assassins. Am I missing anyone that's like super
You got
important?
Bluno.
Bluno.
Bluno was the bartender, and then ended up you seeing him being a part of CP9. So
Yeah.
you got Bluno, Khalifa, Kaku, Lucci. Oh, Jabra. There's Jabra, the
Okay.
wolf guy.
All right.
And then I think that's it that I remember.
All right. Now, some of these people are not devil fruit eaters yet, or not
not
devil fruit,
yet.
not even devil fruit eaters.
Yeah.
Were they when they all got to that point where they knew they had to fight the Straw Hats, and this is kind
Right.
of jumping into it a little bit, there was this meeting where obviously they knew that the Straw Hats were pretty tough and pretty strong, and I remember somebody coming into their room like, okay, CP9 people, you're gonna need to all get a devil fruit. Was it an artificial devil fruit, or they were just random ones?
I think they were just random devil fruits.
Okay.
Just because like that was before we got into the whole smile fruit
Factory.
part of the smile fruit
okay.
factory. I think they're just like, hey, we have these fruits, we just don't know what they do.
Right. So they basically wind up, eating some of these fruits. Really important character, Iceberg. He's the mayor,
The mayor of Water 7, yeah.
and he's got he's got some information like that. I think Nico, Robin, or Nami, and everybody doesn't he have like some sort of layouts?
He has the
blueprints.
blueprints to Pluton.
That's right. That is important.
And Pluton is one of the 3 ancient weapons in the show.
Right.
And I can't really go into more detail on that after what I found out about the ancient weapons. But the ancient weapon, like, you hear about these ancient weapons so much, and it's like, man, they seem pretty strong, but like, I feel like the Straw Hats will win still. But then in the manga, when you find out more about the ancient weapons, it's like, oh, these are like world-shattering problems that
Right.
no wonder why people are trying to get them.
Right. Because right now for me, it's the Pluton. Pluton.
Yeah, Pluton,
Shirahoshi,
Poseidon.
and I don't know what's
And,
the third. So is that a
Uranus.
spoiler alert for me?
No,
I
they
already know about it, but I
you
can't
know
remember.
about all of them. Poseidon is just
like the Kraken.
no, Poseidon's just like the name of the ancient weapon.
Okay.
And like you find out all about that through Fishman Island.
Right.
Where it's just like Roger going and like Roger's going to Fishman Island, and then he starts like what is it? The voice of all things, I think it's called.
Okay. I do remember
And that's
bits
when like
pieces of that.
they're getting they're telepathically hearing things from like other stuff. So like all the sea beasts
right.
and everything, they're like all like, hey, what's the word? Like the master is coming near or something like that. Like the master will be born soon, something like that.
Oh yeah.
And then Roger's like, hey, you're gonna have a kid in like this amount of years or something like that.
Right.
And then that's gonna change the world, low-key.
Gotcha. Okay, I do remember all of that stuff. We're jumping way ahead with some of those
Yeah,
things.
but
So
anyway,
that's the thing about One Piece talk, though. You could be talking about something, and then all of a sudden you're like jumping into something else.
When you know everything, it's just like you're just going through everything because Oda foreshadows so much.
Yeah.
And then when you're like, when you
Yeah.
have all the information, then you just jump between arcs on like when you got that information.
You told me about how rushed the information was coming at you now in Egghead, and that is actually where I do feel like I'm at. Although I don't remember everything, but the whole time I was going through Egghead, I'm remembering your like voices in my head, like it's gonna be, answers are gonna be coming to you so rapidly that so many things are gonna start to make sense and be like, oh wow, well, that's coming together. And I really did feel like I had jumped 500 years into the future when I reached Egghead. And that's the whole moving forward. Like we've talked a little bit about Water 7 coming for the ship, the Frankie family, there's CP9 going on there. Frankie is a part of the crew. We like really just kind of skated over all of that. We all cried about losing the Going Merry, and that was a very emotional part for people because of how much love was there. But now they have the Going Sunny.
The Thousand Sunny.
The Thousand Sunny. And the Thousand Sunny is a ship that was built after Frankie and his family were enemies. They became friends.
Yeah, it's just like he got like his motivation to make his master proud. Homie Big Tom.
Yeah, and Frankie is kind of cool because he's a part of the show and a part that actually comes completely into play in Egghead, because Frankie has had this moment in his backstory where he was almost dead, and he discovers an area that is actually Dr. Vegapunk, who is the greatest genius,
the smartest man on the planet.
Great genius, great inventor. And so basically, he's got this old lab that Frankie comes in contact with, and that's actually how Frankie saves his own life. He becomes a cyborg.
I wouldn't say he saves his own life that way, because he was already like a cyborg.
Oh, I thought he was kind of banged up.
He was, like, his whole face was missing, but he's a robot, so he didn't really feel it. He just, like, upgraded himself more than saved his life.
Gotcha.
Because
Gotcha.
Water 7, everything, the whole front of his body was cyborg. The whole back of his body was human, because he couldn't reach the back of his body.
Gotcha.
That's why he made, like, when he upgrades, he makes, like, the little hands and upgrades so that he can work on the back of his body, I think. Something like that.
Yeah. So he's basically, we're not going to give away too much, but that comes into play. It's almost a part you forget about until you remember, because now that they're at Egghead and they're seeing all of these advanced technologies in this future, everybody's like got the stars bugging out of their house. You're like, whoa, robot. And then they're like, robot from the past.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh my God. And then you're like, Vegapunk. And then you're like, wait a minute, 7 Vegapunk. And then you're like, wait a minute, York. Then you're like, Lilith. Then you're like, what? And the whole thing is
it's
like,
a whole
huh,
lot
what?
to take in.
And then you're just like, your head is exploding with all this stuff and all this information. Yeah, very exciting things. So I'm in Egghead,
Right.
and I'm caught up. What are some of the things that you're excited that I've gotten to?
Excited that you've gotten to. What was always interesting to me after I watched it, like, because I read it and I'm like, okay, and then I watched it, I'm like, oh, okay, so this just works. So like Vegapunk just like taking his brain and like putting it in the sky.
Yes, the whole time I'm thinking Apple computer, Apple on the top of his head. I'm thinking Steve Jobs. That's how I related that, because basically what he did was he had this giant head. So obviously he took his brain out of there, which must be a giant brain, and then he put it like a satellite up in the sky somehow. It's in a tower, right?
Yeah,
being protected. So basically, what's happening is he's recreated all different parts of himself.
Yes, so he's all the seven sins, I would say, of Vegapunk. Even though there's only 6 of them, but So what I enjoyed about that, because seeing like how they not coerce, like how they function together, because you got You got Shaka, who's like the cool-headed one. Lilith, who's the jump to conclusions, just fight people. You know, the evil side to Vegapunk. Edison was the wise one. Pythagoras was the something related to being the wise one, something like that. Like it's like a whole separate part of like being like smart. And then York, who's only there for energy, which was interesting because when you first got introduced to York, she's just eating and sleeping.
Yeah, and pooping and peeing.
Yes, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like she eats and then she goes to use the bathroom and goes back to sleep.
Back to sleep.
So
that's it.
It interested me because it's just like, oh, so this is how bro just doesn't sleep, because one Vegapunk just needs to sleep, and that goes for all of them. But the thing is also, like, negative things affect all of them. Like if they have to use the bathroom, all of them have to use the bathroom.
And they can't all be doing something like sleeping or going to, like, they can't all be doing that
they all
by
have their
themselves.
roles.
They all have their roles to do, so they have to
is
be
just
there.
to eat and sleep for like,
And go to the bathroom for all of them.
yeah, so just like nutrition and
That's
energy.
it. Yeah.
So they're constantly running
So weird.
24/7.
It's so weird and so creative and makes so much sense.
It makes a lot of sense, and I
yeah.
was just like, wow.
Yeah, but
it's so much easier to see.
I did
now.
trip out over the whole, like, the brain being like the satellite basically for all of the other ones to basically be tapped into in order to be working. We also meet Jewelry Bonnie.
Oh, you
I meet Jewelry Bonnie. She loves pizza. I love pizza.
I mean, you've met her before.
Very, very briefly.
You
though,
meet
but
you meet her briefly, but you don't really know.
You don't really realize it.
You just see like, oh,
right.
okay,
Because she's worst generation too.
Yeah, she's this girl that just eats pizza, and then you just see her like de-agifying people.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, this is just one of the, not like a one-off character, but it's just like, okay, it's just one of those other characters in like Luffy's whole vicinity of being the worst generation.
Worst generation. So the worst generation have been coming together slowly but surely from Water 7 on to defeat some pretty bad guys that they've had no choice but to alliance with each other and get there. So we're seeing Jewelry Bonnie, we're seeing Beji, we're seeing Usta's Captain Kidd, we're seeing Trafalgar Law, Monkey D, Apu.
Seeing Apu.
We're seeing Basil Hawkins, who I don't really think is terribly strong. I mean, he is, but he is an X-Drake.
There's X-Drake.
So right now,
and then a Rouge.
Yeah, so right now in current time, all of them have had like really strong parts that they're playing.
Right.
And one of the reasons why we're kind of bouncing back and forth and using Water 7, like, which is where we're at in episodes, and kind of bouncing from there forward, really is because I think for the most part, like the last episodes that we just left off on are Luffy meeting up again, and CP9 has come into play, and here they are again now. Straw Hats are trying to save the island, save the future, save the greatest scientist in the world on top of his 6 other persons. And now CP9 has showed up.
CP0.
CP0.
They get promoted.
Okay.
To CP0.
So we're now seeing the whole Lucci come back into play.
Right.
He's got some powers that are similar to Luffy. Want to talk about that for a second?
Yes, so in Wano, you see the whole Gear 5 fight, and you see the Gorosei mention like the Gum Gum fruit isn't like a real fruit. It was a mythical Zoan, say something similar to Marco, similar to Kaido, Lucci, but he has the human fruit like how Chopper does, but it's a mythical Zoan, so it has like its upgraded properties to it, so he doesn't change into anything that changes his figure too much in a way. I mean, obviously it changes his figure most out of anybody, but he stays like a human.
Right.
But he just has like these overpowered Toon Force powers.
Okay. So we were talking earlier about, being that now that we've seen Gear 5, and it's so totally taken control of Monkey D, whether or not he's actually conscious of what's happening in the moment, or if he's tapped into or awakened with it being a Zoan
fruit,
whether or not, this is something that Is that what Lucci has?
Yes. So with Vegapunk explained that he explained like the whole thing on how his devil fruits work and how like his artificial devil fruits have been working. And he's sitting there and he's like, never in history have Zoan type devil fruits awakened and like kept their consciousness because they're animals.
Okay.
So they kind of just turn into like bit like say something like Chopper, like Monster Point Chopper.
Right.
It'd be something like that.
So right now when he goes Gear 5, I feel like when he comes out of it, he goes right to sleep.
Yeah, he goes right to sleep. He also
Does he not remember what's happened?
He remembers what's happened in a way. It's just that he also ages. It's either he ages a bit or he loses like an amount of his life. Because like after like he like gets exhausted, like he gets like real. He just ages like so fast.
Right.
And then like he has to like. It took Bonnie to like de-age him back to normal.
Right.
So there probably is like drawbacks to Gear 5 as there should be, because if you could just use that power whenever, it's a little unfair.
Mm-hmm. It is unfair. I want that power for myself.
It's a very unfair power. But basically, with it being a mythical Zoan fruit and him like awakening and acting not totally different, but just
so
acting
much
so much more like
different than the other gears.
Yeah. So it could be like the Zoan type devil fruit like taking over Luffy at that instance.
Gotcha.
I want to go on a small tangent for a second.
Sure.
Which characters was it again you said were offered devil fruits that they didn't know what they were going to do?
Oh, so Kaku, which is like the Pinocchio guy.
Okay.
And Khalifa.
So, question.
Right.
For you two.
Right.
What if someone offered you devil fruits?
Yeah.
But you have no idea what they're gonna do. These are life changing.
Oh, they are.
Could be horrible for you,
could be.
or they could be amazing.
Yeah.
Are you taking that chance?
I'm taking the chance.
Yeah.
The only drawback is you can't swim.
You live in Florida. That sucks.
I live in Florida, but I don't go to the beach. So like, I'm just chilling at home.
You just gotta stay away from any body of water.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point in time, I think, at this part of my life, I could honestly say, all right, well, I've done all this other stuff and I've gotten my swimming out of my I mean, I don't know that I'll ever want to swim again or that I need to swim. I mean, I don't know that is
you could give it up.
thing. Yeah, I think I could give it up. I think I would want to go for
What are some bad fruits that like have no benefit and only cons?
The artificial one for sure.
I mean, artificial ones are just like, it's the drawback to not getting the power. That's the thing.
Yeah, so like Khalifa, her power was she ate the soap fruit.
Yeah.
So she had the ability to make soap like bubbles and things like that.
That's just kind of fun.
She was able to smoothen out people.
Yeah. So
to make them not able to like move at all, basically.
Yeah. So basically, she turned everybody into almost like a bubbly type bubble character that had such a smoothness.
Yeah,
to
just
it
literally.
That they were like, there was no ability to be able. Everything was like no hands, but it was smooth.
Permanent or temporary, or either one.
It was temporary. It kind of was permanent, but it's just like if you just like rinse them off with water, it would be fine.
Okay.
But if there was no water, then you're stuck like that.
And Kaku,
yeah.
got some sort of giraffe powers.
He got the giraffe.
He got giraffed. So at first you were kind of like,
he's got a long ass neck.
He turns into a giraffe, he's a giraffe that stands on two legs.
Yeah, but there were moves that he was able to do.
True, because he's like all about kicking. Like, using his legs like Sanji, but like he has like blades that he kicks. So but then he was able to implement like his neck into it.
Yeah. So he had that square kind of like.
He had the funniest.
He had some funny
because
moves,
he'll be like doing like funny moves, and his whole neck is just like tweaking out, and I'm sitting there like, okay, bro. And then like he'll use like his nose, like he'll contract, he'll like accordion his neck, and then shoot out his nose over to, like a bullet.
I don't know if I'd be able to take the chance on a devil fruit that I didn't know what it was gonna do.
True.
It's risky.
The way I think about it
is risky.
Is like, because like the My Hero universe, it's like you're born with a superpower.
Yeah.
And you don't get to choose that superpower. Like you could have a hereditary superpower, or you could be born with nothing. And like 80% of the world.
And we kind of came into it. We kind of came into it that way too.
Yeah.
We
So I'm sitting there like,
we're gonna turn out like, or who are, we didn't know the backstory of our parents before we could make this decision. Like, at least have a little bit of knowledge. Like, do I really want you to be my mom, and do I really want you to be my dad? Yes. No, I'm not sure. Like, you don't really have that choice.
Okay.
Or the experience.
One more thing that I just thought about, because I always forget about the fact that you can't swim after you have devil fruit. For some reason, it always escapes me.
Yeah.
What happens with small bodies of water that you can stand in, or like showers? Like, is that a thing?
Like small puddles and lakes.
Your energy just gets drained and you can't move.
So
That's why.
So
That's
water,
why.
anything
there's-
water drains you. It's not just the sea.
During
Okay.
Water 7. No, there is. I mean, yeah, there is seawater. There is salt, but
Inside the lakes?
There-
though?
I remember that because
but
the-
also they kind of contradict it because there are some. I think during Water 7, like there are like in like the happier moments of Water 7 when they're on the ship. I think like during some moments, Nami has to shower Luffy because as soon as he sits in the bathtub, bro just limps.
you just can't do nothing.
Yeah, because he can't do anything.
I was gonna ask, like, do people ever shower and clean themselves? Because like, how
Yeah.
do you do that if you
Yeah.
can't do anything?
Anyways,
That's you can continue with the conversation. I said that.
It could be why
Query.
Jeff Ward actually wrote on my buggy thing, to the narrator, Luffy smells. Jeff Ward.
That's canon
Could
now.
be, it could be that, maybe the real life actor smells in real life and he was making a spoof on the real life actor. Or he may have just been like, Buggy, he smells because maybe he can't take a shower or he's always just running and getting dirty and doesn't really think about all of that stuff. But in any case, so much fun with new stuff going on and moving into the future. So what are you most looking forward to? Just to wrap up, what are the things that, not with the manga but in the anime, that you're looking forward to first?
Trying to think. What am I? I'm looking forward to. I'm trying to not spoil anything.
It's okay. No, you can say it. Say it. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking. Well, it's happened in the manga.
Okay.
It's
That's
just
all right.
like-
I'll get there.
You'll get there.
I'll forget about this because that's what happens sometimes.
The most I'm looking forward to is probably Kuzan versus Garp,
Ooh.
because that fight was insane. Not even just Kuzan versus Garp, the whole saving Kobe thing. That's where all that happened.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
like Blackbeard.
Yeah,
Okay.
Blackbeard. So Garp goes to Blackbeard's island with sword, and that whole thing is crazy.
Crazy
You
good.
finally get to see Garp like actually fight, and it's just like, okay, bro, you have that. My bad that I thought you were like not the hero of the name. Like, because you get all.
You
this-
really are that guy.
Listen, I liked Garp actually from the moment he stepped onto the scene as the grandpa. Like, I mean, I think in a way he kind of reminded me of my grandpa. I think he kind of reminds everybody a little bit about their grandpas. Like, he really had that whole like grandpa thing. Like, he was a tough guy. He would smack you upside the head, but he was there to protect you. Yeah, he was a Navy guy. He was that guy trying to do the right thing, trying to get you to do the right thing. But then he questioned really what the right thing was for you. Like, he seemed like he was everybody's great grandfather. So I
don't know.
definitely
My great
felt-
grandpa was stapling blankets to chairs and telling me not to let girls wear my shoes and stuff. So he was a little wacky.
My great grandpa just cooks nice food.
Hey, that's nice.
Oh, I don't know my great grandpa, but I did have a lot of time with my grandpas, all my grandpas, and I was very close to my grandpa, so I have great memories of that. That's why he seemed familiar. But I always thought he was going to kind of break out and be like, Monkey's a chip off the old off the old block.
But then I see some memes about it where it's just like Garp's like, I'm gonna die to save Kobe, and then you just see like meme image Ace and Luffy just like, bro, what?
Well, not true. Just Ace and Luffy didn't really necessarily know that. I mean, to be honest, he did step in and pretty much save their lives from the beginning.
But he didn't save Ace, and then he's
No,
like, I'm
he
willing to
didn't.
die to save Kobe, and then, it's just funny.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's just like, it'd be what it'd be.
he felt closer to Kobe because Kobe became like a surrogate grandson kind
Yeah,
of.
I constantly say-
he wasn't really blood related to Ace.
He wasn't.
He wasn't. He did Goldie a
But
solid.
I constantly say that Kobe was the son that Garp always wanted.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
That's why I like the live action.
It's okay.
The
So,
live action where they show Garp talking with Kobe a lot more.
yeah.
That's probably my favorite part of the live action. Just because I'm like, okay, so it's showing a lot more of like this bond that they're making with Garp
Yeah.
and Kobe. So it all makes sense.
I've always wanted to know what's the name of that game that they play, the black and white marble game. Is that like a real name,
Shogi?
a real game in real life, like
Shogi?
in Japan and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
shogi.
Okay, so that's like a real game that you can go on the internet and search it out and actually buy and
Yeah.
learn how to play and everything?
Yeah.
Wow, we'll have to do that too. That actually looks like a lot of fun. I think I would like that. But we play the game. So
Yeah.
we played the card game. I have a special gift for you. It's Otama from OPO7 in English. I know that you were needing that for your Yamato.
Yes.
And obviously some treasure on the back for you to say thank you very much for coming here and being on the show. You always make the conversation so much more interesting, and you have so many great things to add to it. And you know, thank you again. So
I
much.
always try to.
We had a great time this weekend at Locals. We're looking forward to next weekend when we get our OPO7 English boxes. And shout out to Treasure Coast Magic on the Treasure Coast. You guys are amazing. You know, look at how you bring the community together. Look at how you've brought us as friends and players and One Piece community together here, even when we're not there. So thank you for that. That is for you, my friend. We are going to follow up this video with an unboxing. It is my very last box of the OP 2023 gift collection. I was going to put it on the shelf and keep it. I was going to save it and keep it sealed as part of the collection. It is the last one from a case that I had. But I am thinking, you know what? Unless you take risks, you really can't create a future. So I want to see what's in here. I'm going to divvy up some of the love from this because there's so much of it in here. We'll do an unboxing. I'll pass out some cards to everybody. The narrator gets to keep the promotional pack. But let's see if there's a manga in there. I mean, why not? If not in this box, what box? So, I mean, the opportunity is definitely there, so we're going to do that together. So stay tuned. And again, if you guys haven't subscribed, liked, followed, comment, do that here. We're going to have a lot of fun in the future continuing on the Patreon account. Get on there and subscribe. It's only $5 a month. We've got some great behind the scenes videos going up on it, so follow us there as well and support everything that we're doing here in the One Piece world. I'm always reinvesting it back into everything else, but I do invest in myself. And I think one of the pieces of wisdom that I always like to throw out there when it comes to One Piece is, you know, invest in yourself. It will pay you for the rest of your life. With that, one piece, one love, one piece.